did not exaggerate that at all. That
dead
is
serious.
literally my weakness or that heaviness. I'll let Matt decide. Was that... Matt, we're back again. We promised the audience that loves you so much an extra video on 3-axis machining, didn't we?
We did indeed.
We're
here to deliver.
Indeed. And Matt's great at delivering, like Santa Claus actually, but real. And that's important because, oh, I hope no kids are watching this. I apologize if we just ruined that for someone. Now let's get really real, which is the vices that are in front of us. In the world of 3-axis, a lot of us don't have the ability, let's say, or maybe don't have the labor because there's such a shortage right now. And that's a global concept, not just here in the US, but a global concept in a lot of places, especially when it comes to the quality. So what are we doing? Well, we're figuring out different ways to automate the cells that we're in. Sometimes that's robots, cobots, pallet change system, bar feeds. In this situation right here, right now that you see behind Matt and I, you see RockLock base and what we call a quick change system, meaning although there's not a robot or cobot, we are physically changing out the vices. Now, how many of you out there, I'm gonna ask closer, how many of you out there are trying to utilize this situation to automate, but it's just too daggone heavy? And I mean that. I mean, you're now leaving the setup because it's too heavy. And yes, I've done it again, talk too much. Let's talk to Matt now. Matt, the vices that are in front of us right now, so much lighter. I know you've seen it. You're in the world of work holding. You've been there for a long time. And we see setups that are much heavier that we just refuse to move. And in fact, in some places, like here in the US, it might even be OSHA not approved to do it without a robot. Can you elaborate on what I've done a really poor job of describing?
You actually did a very good job.
Thank you.
So behind us, what you're seeing is what we call our multi-position RockLock plate. So it's basically our 3-axis quick change plate. So instead of a big traditional tooling plate, we just split them up into smaller modular units, basically. So that product line has been very, very successful. Simplifies programming, simplifies setups. We've been doing a lot of stuff with up-and-coming machinists because it allows us to give them preset positions, so we don't have to worry about them loading machines without a lot of, basically teaching, making sure the vices are in the correct position. We can just tell them what position the vice needs to go in, and they'll plop it in there. It's already saved. We're good to go. So that's a big consideration. With that, with the success of that product, we've noticed that more traditional vices are being adapted to our quick change system, but people aren't changing the vices that frequently. So they are with some of the smaller units, but the larger units, they're just heavy and kind of awkward. So to pair with our 3-axis multi-position plates, we're like, we need a line of very efficient, more modern, single and double station vices, little bit smaller footprint, same rigidity, but much, much lighter. So much easier to quick change, because if you're gonna quick change, you don't want it to be so laborious or so heavy that no one ever does it. There's no point in that. So that's where these products come in. And we're really excited about these. So a very, affordable price point, aluminum base, steel rails, a bunch of cool technology, removable gripper teeth, very flexible, very modular, like we do everything else, and very reasonable to load and unload. So,
I'm listening to this whole conversation, and one thing that I think is very important to reiterate, and even though common sense is now considered a superpower, we do probably say that what I'm about to say is very common sense, but I have to do it anyway. And it's the part where you said same durability, same reliability in what is going on in a lot of standard setups, right?
100%.
I just want to amplify that point, because if I'm looking at this and I'm looking at this, that's my very first question is, can I still do and hold the same strength and rigidity as I would be able to on a much heavier unit?
Exactly. Yeah, you absolutely can. So there's a lot of stuff that we do with the pitch of the lead screw, the way we make our trucks, to allow you to give the same clamping force out of a much smaller unit. And as you've seen with us here in California, I mean, our way of sort of 3-axis automation, if you will, is to maximize the amount of parts on the machine table, right? So instead of buying multiple machines, we'll make sure that each machine is running as efficiently as possible. And we do that with compact vices, so we can load them up and, run 12 parts on a 3-axis where most people would run 1 or 2.
I think we have a little bit of time to sidestep, but still talk about this product. And the reason I say sidestep is because I want the people watching to truly understand, and you and I have talked about this before, like we do most things when it comes to work holding, truly understand the benefit of this setup. And what I mean by that is, on turning centers, the easiest to adapt situation, in my opinion, maybe Matt agrees or doesn't, is a bar feed. And it's just, it's cost effective, it's plug and play. When I look at machining centers like this, when I think of vertical machining centers, sure, we can do robots and cobots, and maybe that's a part that we're going to invest in at some point, but this is the easiest, most cost-effective way to instantly start automating your cell. And when I think about that, man, the reason we're saying that over and over and over again is because there is a large majority of this world who invested in 3-axis machines over the last 3 or 4 decades that aren't ready to buy new machines. To your point, perfectly to your point, and they need to update that technology without buying a $250,000 machine or a $100,000 machine. This is the solution. In my opinion, this is the solution. You'd agree with that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, so we consider a lot of this like this is a level of automation, right? You're maximizing your uptime and minimizing your downtime, which is however you slice it, whether it's a robot or, a modular system like this, it's automation. So it's making sure you're as efficient as possible with the tooling and the machine you have. And again, back to the flexibility, being very flexible and modular. So if you need to take all that stuff off the machine table for, a bigger job, it's really simple to do. You're not locked into a set, that machine's dedicated to do this. So you want that level of flexibility. We've been machining for too long. Like, you never know what's coming down the pipeline, and you got to be prepared. So
you're spot on about that. And walking around here at 5th Axis, and you guys have the latest and greatest. You've invested in the technology to make sure that your work holding is going to be discussionably the best. We'll let everyone discuss.
Absolutely.
And we're here to describe what we're creating here, but discussionably the best. Now, something that comes into my mind when you describe this setup is a horizontal machining center, which I know you have some of. Almost every salesperson I've ever talked to, if you say, why would I invest in a horizontal machining center? Well, it's because on the average, I'm able to take multiple tasks and multiple machines work, pop it onto a horizontal side. And that's the exact same thing we're saying here.
Absolutely.
If you need to update that vertical machining center, just do more on the inside, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. We obviously do a lot with horizontals. Fixturing and stuff can get more complicated, right? So that's why most people start with a vertical. They might get a slightly bigger 3-axis. So we've taken that same concept and applied it to your 3-axis because worldwide it's the most popular, machine type available, right? It is what most people have. Even if you have multi-axis or horizontal, you probably have a fleet of 3-axis, and they tend to be the ones that we see are most underutilized in terms of efficiency. They're just often forgotten about.
Totally agree with that. I think there's only one thing left to do now, Matt. And that's actually to pick a couple of these up and show the difference. And before I do this, and yes, I have to do this.
I've been waiting all day for this.
Of course he has, because I'm probably going to drop it. And I'm not that strong. But going back to the quick change system, the ability, it's in the name, right? The RockLock Quick-Change system. Even the alarm's going off. It's so excited right now about me getting ready to drop this vise. But the whole point, it's in the system, in the name, is the ability to remove and replace at a high rate without hurting yourself. We don't want any of you going to your insurance, your human resources with a bad back because you reached too far into your machine and hurt yourself, which is probably what I'm about to do.
Yeah,
you looking forward to this?
Yeah,
all right. Enough with the talk. Let's just show you. Let's physically show you. All right, I'm putting the microphone down.
Let's see it.
One hand, just so you know. Look, one hand. I'm not lying. I did not exaggerate that at all. That is
serious.
Literally my weakness or that heaviness. I'll let Matt decide. Was that?
It's that heavy. I mean, this unit right here is around 17 pounds, and that unit you picked up is roughly 65 plus pounds.
And to close this out, does the same thing.
Exactly. Does the same exact thing.
Is it any easier than what 5th Axis does for us? Do you have any closing statements? Because I think me falling over pretty much did it, right? Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.